You know, folks, life has these strange moments when you find yourself right in the thick of things, right at the heart of it all, yet everything around you feels eerily still. But inside, it's chaos. Like standing in the eye of a hurricane, quiet on the surface, but only for show. That's exactly how I felt that night. When Marina came home from her office party, it was well past midnight, closer to 2 a.m. She tiptoed in like a cat burglar. I was already awake, lying there tense, like some meerkat on lookout duty. I heard the key turn, the soft creak of the door, and then she walked in, wearing this sheepish grin and a look that screamed guilt. Honestly, she looked like a school kid caught sneaking crayons. "Why aren't you asleep? What's the matter?" she asked, playing surprised. "I was waiting," I replied, keeping my voice level, but my eyes narrowed on their own like a snake sizing up its target. She plopped down right there in the hallway and started fumbling with her shoes, avoiding my gaze all the while. But I noticed her shoulders were hunched, like she was trying to fold in on herself. That told me all I needed to know. I've known her 8 years, long enough to spot when something's off. "We just had some fun, danced a bit," she murmured. And then I saw them bruises. Faint, but there, on her legs. And her wrists too. Something snapped inside me. "And this?" I asked, pointing straight at her hands. She looked me dead in the eye and then let out this weird laugh, like I'd just told a joke. "Oh, that? Nothing. I tripped while dancing. We played games, had a few contests. It was fun. No big deal." But there was something in her voice, something brittle. Like even she wasn't buying the story she was selling. That smile didn't reach her eyes. I didn't push it. Not right then. I figured, no need to spark a midnight drama. But the doubt had already sunk its roots in deep. Next morning, she was all business as usual. Had breakfast, got the girls ready for preschool, kissed me goodbye. But she couldn't meet my eyes. And that's when it hit me, I couldn't just sit on this. It wasn't jealousy. It was something else. Something deeper. A gnawing sense that something had shifted, not just in her, but in me too. That thought kept circling like a vulture. So yeah, I decided to check out the place where they'd had their party. It was this fancy countryside resort, swanky as hell. Saunas, pools, lounges, the whole deal. I slipped into full-on detective mode, put on my best, serious potential client face, and asked to speak to the manager. "Hi there," I said. "I'm thinking about booking a corporate event here and wanted to get a tour of the facilities." The girl who greeted me couldn't have been older than 25, and the moment she smelled a commission, she flipped on her professional charm. Suddenly, I was her VIP guest. She gave me the grand tour: dance floor, bar, spa rooms, you name it. I nodded, half listening, until I spotted them cameras. That's when it hit me. Like a jolt of lightning. "You've got cameras in all the public areas, right?" I asked, keeping it casual, like I was just curious about safety. "Of course." She beamed. "For your peace of mind. We keep the footage for a week." Bingo. That was something. But then came the next problem: how to get it? No one's just gonna hand it over to some random guy. I walked out of the resort, my head buzzing with thoughts: how do I pull this off? And then, just like that, fate threw me a bone. I ran into Olga. It felt like the universe had just handed me a key. Olga used to be part of our office crew, but now by some wild twist of fate she'd landed a job right there, at the resort, working as an administrator. Total chance encounter. We started chatting, reminiscing about old office drama and shared coffee breaks, when an idea suddenly sparked in my mind. "Olga," I said, leaning in a little, "can we grab a coffee sometime? I've got a favor to ask." She raised an eyebrow, clearly caught off guard, but nodded anyway. That evening, we met at a quiet cafe. I laid it all out, everything, just the way it was. I wasn't exactly proud of it, but honestly, I couldn't think of any other way to get the truth. "You realize this isn't really legal," she murmured, nervously biting her lip. "I know," I said, "but it would mean a lot, Olga. I just need to know what really happened." Maybe it was the look in my eyes, or maybe she just felt how badly I needed answers, but something in her softened. She agreed to try. A few days ticked by. Then Olga called and I could hear the panic in her voice before she even spoke. "Alex. I did it, but I've got a problem now." We met again, same cafe. Her hands were trembling. Turns out, the security guy had caught her while she was copying the footage. And now the bastard was blackmailing her, demanding something vile in exchange for keeping his mouth shut. I was floored. Sick to my stomach, honestly. Quit, I told her, no hesitation. Walk away from that place. I'll help however I can find you another job, support you if I need to. But don't set foot back there. She nodded, and right there at the table, she handed me a flash drive with a few notes scrawled in a napkin. The moment I got home, I plugged it in. My hands were trembling, and my chest felt like it might explode. The silence in the room was loud. My heart was pounding so hard, I half expected the windows to rattle. I hit play. There it was, footage of the party. Music, dancing, people laughing, drinks flowing. Marina was right in the middle of it, laughing, spinning around, a little drunk, sure, but clearly having a good time. At first, it all seemed harmless. Just your average work party. But then, things started to shift. The vibe got looser. The movements, slower. The smiles, longer. You know that moment when something innocent starts to cross the line? Yeah, it was like that. And then I saw it clear as day. She walked off toward the sauna with one of her girlfriends and two guys. The security camera caught them at the door. And through the glass. What I saw next is burned into my memory. When the footage ended, I just sat there. Still. Frozen in place like I'd been slammed over the head. No anger, no tears, just this massive, crushing emptiness. Like someone had scooped out everything inside me. All I could think was, why? I gathered the girls' things and took them to their grandmother's. I needed time, space, and I knew that whatever conversation I had with Marina, whatever this turned into, it had to be one-on-one. No shouting, no drama, even though, inside, I was on fire. When she came home, I was already waiting by the door. We need to talk, I said. My voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was cold, flat, like steel. She stopped in the hallway. For a second, she looked like a deer in headlights, then sank onto the couch, hands clenched in her lap, eyes wide, like a kid caught red-handed sneaking candy. What happened at the corporate party? It was nothing. I don't remember anything. I drank too much. Don't, I cut her off. I've seen the recordings. She went white. Not pale white. Lips pressed tight, eyes darting, like she was searching for some invisible exit. And then came the words, rushed, broken, desperate. Pressure from colleagues. She didn't want to. It wasn't what it looked like. But I wasn't listening anymore. The truth was right there, etched in every frame of that footage. 8 years. 8 years of shared life, of building something I thought was solid, and she shattered it like glass underfoot. Marina, I said quietly, it's over. Pack your things. She broke down. Tears, pleas, promises. The whole storm. But I couldn't. I wouldn't. There's a line. And when someone crosses it, when they burn the bridge behind them, well, that's that. No amount of crying or clinging can bring it back. We're in the middle of court proceedings now. I'm doing everything I can to get custody of the kids. Because they're what matters now. Not the pain, not the betrayal, not the past. Marina. She made her choice. And honestly, friends, there's no satisfaction in this. No smug I told you so. Just a kind of quiet emptiness. A moment where you realize, this chapter's done. Time to turn the page. Because life, she's a strange one. Sometimes she tears everything apart, not out of cruelty, but to make room. To clear space. So you can build something new, something stronger, wiser. Right now, that's my focus. My girls. Their future. And maybe, just maybe, mine too.